2 years of trying, and I was finally pregnant. Holding the pregnancy test results, I rushed home happily, only to find Luna, Marcus's childhood friend, standing conspicuously in the living room. Marcus was beaming with joy, twirling her around, and only carefully set her down when he saw me. Grace, great news! Luna is pregnant. Isn't that amazing? I've decided, once the baby is born, we'll adopt him as our godson. For now, we'll both work hard to take good care of Luna. Seeing his joyous expression, I angrily threw the pregnancy test results in front of him. I'm having my own baby. Why would I adopt someone else's child? Marcus, puzzled, grabbed the pregnancy test results and blurted out, "How did you get pregnant too? How am I supposed to take care of 2 pregnant women by myself?" Watching his frustrated expression, my anger flared. Why can't I get pregnant? Why does Luna's pregnancy make it your responsibility to take care of her? Is her baby's father dead? Marcus, seeing my harsh words, instantly became displeased. Why are you speaking so cruelly? Luna and I are like siblings. What's wrong with me taking care of her? You're pregnant right now. Aren't you afraid that if you act like this, your child will be as cruel and petty as you? I was so furious I reeled back. It wasn't that I was speaking harshly, but ever since Luna came from her hometown 3 months ago to seek refuge, Marcus had been like a different person. My necklace mysteriously appeared around her neck. My newly bought dress was on her, and even my credit card had Luna's shared payment feature linked to her account. It wasn't that I hadn't gotten angry. Marcus had hugged me, coaxing, "Grace, Luna saved my life. Now she's run away after being abused by her husband. You can't expect me to be callous and uncaring. Can you? Do you want me to be a cold-blooded, heartless person?" Ultimately, he promised emphatically that Luna would move out in 6 months at most, once she found a job. Seeing us quarrel, Luna suddenly dropped to her knees before me, saying with tear-filled eyes, "Grace, it's all my fault. Please don't be angry with Marcus. If you truly hate me, I'll go back to my hometown immediately." Luna said this and rushed towards the door. Marcus gasped in alarm, sprang forward, and swept Luna into his arms. "Luna, where are you going? You just got pregnant. I forbid you to leave." Luna cried miserably, clutching tightly at Marcus's clothes, sagging into his embrace. "Marcus, I'm just unlucky. It's not anyone else's fault. Please don't be angry with Grace, or my conscience will never rest." Marcus immediately turned to me, flaring up in rage. "Grace, you're going to be a mother too. How can you be so heartless? Do you really want Luna to go back and be beaten to death by her husband?" I couldn't help but recall how Luna had been covered in bruises and had multiple cigarette burns on her body when she first arrived. My hand unconsciously touched my belly, and I sighed. "Fine, she can stay." Looking at Luna's still flat stomach, I couldn't help but ask, puzzled, "Luna, you've been here for over 3 months. Why are you only pregnant now?" Luna's eyes immediately darted away, and she muttered evasively, "Grace, please don't be angry when I tell you. A month ago, my drunk husband came looking for me again. He forced himself on me." Saying this, she leaned into Marcus's arms, crying sadly. Marcus immediately comforted her with a pained expression. There, don't cry. It's all over. If you keep crying, the baby will be sad too," he said, helping Luna sit back on the sofa, and solicitously asked, "Is there anything you want to eat? I'll go buy it right away. How about some nutritious chicken soup? Oh, and I'll buy some special nutritional supplements too. They're good for the baby," Marcus said, his face full of joy, and strode towards the door with his car keys. As he brushed past me, he didn't ask once what I wanted to eat. That night, I was so angry I lay on my side and went to sleep first. Next to me, Marcus's phone kept flashing. I turned my head and saw he was browsing baby products and pregnancy tips. Seeing him so attentive, my anger subsided quite a bit. Forget it. He and Luna had grown up as childhood sweethearts, like siblings. I couldn't push him to be completely heartless. The next day, I didn't wake up until 10 o'clock. When I did, the spot beside me was already cold. In the living room, I found 2 sets of used dishes on the table. The creamy liquid indicated that special nutritional supplements had been stewed that morning. I went into the kitchen and lifted the lid of the pot. There were only leftovers. Not a single bit left for me. I made a phone call, asking Marcus why he hadn't stewed any special nutritional supplements for me. His impatient voice came through the phone. "Are you really that greedy? Luna is weak and needs special nutritional supplements to recover. You're strong and healthy. You don't need supplements. You've eaten so many good things. Why do you have to compete with Luna for everything? Luna's voice came from the phone. Marcus, don't you think this maternity outfit is pretty? All right. I'm busy right now. We'll talk later. Saying this, he abruptly hung up the phone. When I called again, it went straight to voicemail. I sat on the sofa, fuming, watching to see how biased he could be. At noon, they both returned with a large pile of things. Luna plopped onto the sofa, contentedly rubbing her legs. Grace, I'm exhausted. I didn't realize how pretty baby products are. I wanted to buy everything I saw, she said, pulling a small towel from her bag. Sister, this is something I specifically picked out for you. You can use it to wipe the baby's mouth when you feed. I looked at the table full of baby dresses, baby shoes, and various prenatal vitamins and supplements, and let out a cold laugh, tossing the small towel onto the table. No, thank you. If I need anything, the baby's father will buy it for me. As I spoke, I fixed my gaze on Marcus, wanting to see what he had bought for me. Marcus immediately snatched the small towel and put it back in the bag. Luna, I specifically bought this for you. How can you give it away? I specifically checked. You need to prepare several of these small towels during lactation. After washing, they should be naturally air-dried to prevent bacteria from growing. I couldn't help but laugh, exasperated. So this small towel was also just something extra they didn't need. I slowly stood up and looked sternly at Marcus. Marcus, I'm pregnant too. What pregnancy items have you prepared for me and the baby? Marcus said impatiently. Aren't you only half a month pregnant? With your impulsive and prone to anger nature, who knows if the baby will even make it? Preparing early would just be a waste. If you actually give birth then, you can just use Luna's hand-me-downs, right? I stared at Marcus in shock. He actually suggested the baby might not make it? I, a sales director with an annual salary of $1 million, would have to use hand-me-downs for my baby. My heart slowly sank. Still unwilling to give up hope, I asked, are you saying all these strollers and supplements are for Luna, and you haven't prepared anything for me? Marcus, sensing my displeasure, his voice softened. You just got pregnant. Why are you in such a hurry? If you really want to buy something, just go buy it this afternoon. It's not like you don't have money. My gaze fell upon the pile of things in the living room. Outside, delivery workers were still shouting, Boss, the maternity massage table you ordered has arrived. Should we bring it in now? The stinging in my eyes made my chest ache. I could no longer hold back my fury and sorrow, and I slapped Marcus across the face. Bastard, I'm carrying your child, and you want me to use hand-me-downs from someone else? Marcus staggered and then slumped into a chair. Luna rushed over anxiously, blocking me. Grace, it's all my fault. It's because I wanted to buy too many things for the baby. If you're angry, hit me. Just please don't be angry with Marcus, she said, hurriedly grabbing baby clothes and shoes and shoving them into my arms. Grace, look, Marcus bought all these for you. Please don't be angry with each other because of me. I angrily flung the things out of my hands. Take them away. Who cares about your stuff? With a crash, Luna, following the motion of my hand, fell onto the coffee table, letting out a sharp scream. Marcus's face changed drastically. He sprang forward and picked up Luna. Luna, where did you get hurt? I'm taking you to the hospital right away, he said, carrying Luna, and strode out the door. As he brushed past me, he shoved hard into my shoulder. Get out of my way! I stumbled and fell onto the stroller, then hit the floor with a thud. Instantly, an excruciating pain shot through my abdomen, as if my insides were being torn apart. I gasped sharply, frantically supporting myself on the floor, and shouted at Marcus. My stomach hurts. Marcus paused, then turned back, frowning at me. Luna immediately let out a soft moan. Marcus, you should go see Grace first. Anyway, my baby is a burden. If it's gone, it's just bad luck. Marcus instantly became tense. Nonsense. Our baby will be healthy. I'm taking you to the hospital right away, he said, hastily tossing out a remark. You go lie down on the bed first. I'll come back and take you to the hospital. As his figure disappeared into the night, a warm sensation flowed down my thigh. Seeing the bright red blood slowly spread across the floor, my heart trembled. Ignoring the pain, I crawled to the coffee table and grabbed my phone. Hello, Crescent Park Apartments. Apartment 301, Building 1. Pregnant woman miscarrying. Please come quickly. Another wave of stinging pain swept over me, and my vision went black, and I fainted. When I opened my eyes again, doctors and nurses were calling my name. I tilted my head and realized I was already on the operating table. Medical equipment beeping beside me. Tears instantly welled up. The baby was gone after all. The nurse urged me hastily. Miss, we urgently need a family member to sign for the DC procedure. I propped myself up and dialed Marcus's phone. His roaring voice immediately came through. Do you have the nerve to call me? Luna's condition is very bad right now. I'm telling you, if the baby can't be saved, I won't forgive you, I said weakly, enduring the pain. Marcus, come to the emergency room immediately. I'm having a miscarriage and need a signature. Marcus snorted coldly. Grace, how long are you going to keep up this act? You just don't want me to take care of Luna, secretly wishing she'd miscarry, don't you? I'm telling you, if you don't cultivate some good karma, how could you possibly give birth to a child? Saying this, he slammed the phone down. The doctors and nurses looked at me in surprise, then exchanged speechless glances. I wiped away my tears and dialed an old number again. Ethan, I'm having a miscarriage. Can you come to First Hospital to sign for me? His anxious voice immediately came through. Grace, don't be afraid. I'll be there now. 10 minutes at most. The nurses began preoperative preparations. A blood bag was also hung. In their whispered conversations, I learned that I had a mild thrombin deficiency, and there was a risk of heavy bleeding during the surgery. 5 minutes later, a tall, slender figure rushed in, drenched in sweat. Seeing his familiar face, I couldn't hold on any longer and completely lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, I was on a soft mattress, and my stomach no longer hurt. Ethan saw me awake and immediately brought his handsome face close to mine. You're awake. Are you thirsty? Should I feed you some water? I nodded. Ethan helped me lean into his embrace, carefully feeding me water. After only 2 sips, the door burst open with a crash. Marcus was startled, and then his expression changed. Grace, have you no shame? Pregnant and secretly meeting an old lover? Aren't you afraid the baby in your belly will be disgusted by you? Ethan gently set me down and let out a small laugh. Is this the man you picked? I knew your taste was terrible, but I never expected it to be this incredibly bad. I turned my face away in shame. After all, I didn't have the face to say that Marcus hadn't been like this before. Ethan was an adopted son my father had found. He had followed me around like a shadow since childhood, always clinging to me. As we grew up, he was even more obedient, following my every word and spoiling me in every way. When my father was alive, he intended for me to marry Ethan, but I only felt a sibling-like affection for him and also thought he was 3 years younger than me, so I firmly refused. After my father's unexpected death, when I was down, my colleague Marcus accompanied and comforted me every day. I was gradually moved by his sincerity. We got married less than a year later. The night before the wedding, Ethan cornered me in my bedroom, asking me to reconsider him. At the time, I was deeply in love, and I angrily told him he wasn't good enough for me. He eventually left heartbroken. Since then, except for receiving his gifts on holidays, he never bothered me again. I vaguely heard that he had started his own pharmaceutical company, and it was doing quite well. Ethan stood up and slowly walked over to Marcus, then suddenly landed a punch squarely on Marcus's face. Bastard! Is this how you take care of Grace? Marcus staggered, then angrily lunged forward, grabbing Ethan's collar, and punched him back. You bastard! How dare you touch my wife? Grace is my woman now. How I treat her is none of your business. The two quickly began to brawl, rolling on the floor, savagely hitting each other. I frantically got out of bed, trying to pull them apart. In the struggle, someone kicked my leg, and I fell to the ground with a thud. The door was pushed open, and a nurse shouted loudly, "Stop it, both of you! The patient just had a miscarriage. How can you be so reckless?" The hospital room instantly fell silent. Marcus looked at me, eyes wide with disbelief. Grace, you had a miscarriage? Marcus said, walking towards me, reaching out to help me up. I slapped his hand away. Get lost. Marcus's face darkened, and he looked suspiciously at Ethan. You're so healthy. How could you have a miscarriage? Did you too? Behind my back, I immediately understood what Marcus implied. He suspected Ethan and I had an affair, causing the miscarriage. My breath caught in my chest, and tears flowed uncontrollably. I shoved him hard in the chest, Marcus, you're truly shameless. Get out. Get out now. Seeing my mournful expression, Marcus's voice softened. All right. Don't cry. I didn't mean it like that. We can have children later. If you're this sad, I'll be heartbroken too, he said, reaching out to pull me up. The moment his hand touched me, a delicate voice spoke. Marcus, I'm sorry. It's all my fault that my sister lost her baby, she said, running into the room and dropping to her knees before me, saying with tears in her eyes, Sister, hit me. It's all because I'm useless. It's all my fault, she said, grabbing my hand and trying to hit her own stomach with it. It's all this unwanted child's fault. If it weren't for him, my sister wouldn't have lost her baby. Let him apologize to you. Marcus panicked, grabbed her hand, and held her tightly in his arms. Luna, I forbid you to say that about our baby. I've already lost one child. Do you want me to lose this one too? Luna suddenly became agitated, crying hysterically. I don't want this baby. Even if it's born, it will grow up without a father's love, scorned by others in this world. Marcus hurriedly reprimanded her. Nonsense. I am his father. I will take care of you both for life. Anyone who dares say a word, I'll break their legs. I stared in shock at Luna, who was crying sadly in Marcus's arms, and I seemed to understand something. Marcus, is Luna's baby yours? Marcus's gaze darted away, and his voice became weak. What nonsense are you talking about? Luna and I are just like siblings. Don't slander our innocence. A flicker of provocation crossed Luna's eyes. Then she buried her face in Marcus's chest, sobbing. I closed my eyes. Marcus, let's get a divorce. Marcus gasped in alarm, shoved Luna away, and rushed over to hug me. Grace, I know you're hurting from losing the baby, but we love each other so much. How can you suggest divorce? I won't agree. Even if we never have children, I won't divorce you. Luna crawled over and hugged me. Sister, please don't divorce Marcus. If you do, my conscience will never be at peace. In the chaotic moment, she leaned close to my ear and whispered quickly, the baby in my belly is Marcus's. We'll both serve Marcus together from now on. Do you like that? My pupils dilated sharply. I slapped her. Slut! How can you both be so shameless? Luna screamed, smashing her head against the nightstand. Her forehead immediately started bleeding profusely. Marcus's face instantly darkened. He slapped me backhanded across the face. How can you be so vicious? He said, picking up Luna and running frantically out the door. Doctor, quickly! A pregnant woman has fainted. The nurses followed closely, and the noisy hospital room instantly fell silent. Ethan gently carried me to the bed and held my hand tightly. Grace, get the divorce. Even if you don't love me, I'm willing to take care of you for life. I looked at Ethan's gaze that was both loving and helpless, and a warmth spread through my heart. Ethan, help me investigate Luna and Marcus. I want to know everything about them. Ethan nodded and hugged me tightly, letting out a soft sigh. Unknowingly, I fell asleep in his arms. In my dream, a sharp pain struck, and I woke up, clutching my head. I found Marcus, his face contorted in rage, pulling my hair and lifting me off the bed. Grace, since you publicly caused Luna's miscarriage, you will go now and get on your knees and beg her for forgiveness, he said, not allowing me to explain, and dragged me by my hair towards the door. In pain, I could only contort my body, stumbling and staggering as he dragged me. When we reached the 3rd floor, I realized Marcus had arranged a VIP hospital room for Luna. The room emitted a faint pleasant scent, and fresh flowers and nutritional products were everywhere. Luna was lying on the bed, crying sorrowfully, looking frail and helpless. Marcus threw me onto the floor in front of the bed and roared, Grace, you ruined your own baby, so you're jealous of Luna, and you had to harm her baby. Now's baby is gone. Are you satisfied? He said, forcing me to my knees in front of the bed. Luna was suicidal several times. Today, if you don't get on your knees until she's satisfied, I'll take you to the police station and accuse you of intentional harm, he said, forcefully pressing my head, trying to slam it against the floor. I had just had a miscarriage and had no strength to resist. Thump, thump, thump. The sound of flesh hitting the floor echoed in the hospital room. Once, twice, thrice. Blood dripped onto the floor, slowly spreading into a crimson stain. The door burst open with a crash, and Ethan's furious voice rang out. Marcus, you bastard. Stop it, he said, slapping a stack of documents onto Marcus's face. Take a good look. Luna had a miscarriage because she's already had 10 miscarriages. She'll never be able to carry a baby to term in this lifetime. Marcus released his grip, picked up the documents from the floor in confusion. Then his pupils dilated sharply. Impossible. This can't be true. Luna is so innocent and kind. How could she be this kind of woman? Ethan let out a cold laugh, slowly helped me up, and held me in his arms. Marcus, you're not blind, are you? It has the signature and stamp of Fairhaven Hospital. No one can fake that. He then pulled a stack of photos from his pocket and threw them in Marcus's face. Take a look. This is the woman you've been so wholeheartedly protecting. Who knows how many men she's slept with? Marcus grabbed the photos with trembling hands, his eyes instantly widening like saucers. I looked down at the photos scattered on the floor, 2 naked people rolling around in a hotel room. Luna's hazy, ecstatic expression was clearly visible even through the pictures. I bent down and picked them up, only to find that the protagonists in the photos were all different: bald old men, muscular strong men, and one picture even showed her rolling around with a black man in an open field. My mouth hung open. I knew Luna was a manipulative slut, but I never expected her to play such games. Ethan's contemptuous voice rang out. Marcus, you don't actually think Luna only has you, and that she's madly in love with you, do you? She's a well-known socialite. By hooking up with different men, she's already bought 3 commercial properties and 2 residential homes in Fairhaven. The only reason she came to you this time is because she offended Eleanor, a powerful local businesswoman. Luna hooked up with Eleanor's husband, so she fled frantically to Riverton, just looking for you to be her unwitting replacement. Marcus's face was filled with shock and disbelief. He stared at Luna with enraged eyes. Luna immediately lunged at him, crying out, Marcus, they forced me. What he's saying isn't true. Marcus, the person I truly love is you. We were childhood sweethearts, and in my heart, I've always considered you my husband. Marcus shook the photos in his hand, his voice hoarse with accusation. So many photos. Different men, were they all forcing you? Why did they only force you? Are you so irresistible? He said, slapping her across the face and roaring. Luna, I've been so good to you, giving you money for jewelry every year, and even cruelly letting Grace have a miscarriage because of you. Why would you do this to me? Saying this, Marcus grabbed Luna's neck and roared. You slut! You're so shameless and depraved. Give me back my baby. A thunderous realization struck me. I stared intently at Marcus. So he wasn't just biased. He was deliberate. He only ever wanted Luna's baby. In that moment, my heart completely turned cold. I wiped away my last tear and said calmly, Ethan, get a lawyer to file for divorce. I want him to leave with nothing and die a terrible death. Ethan smiled faintly, putting his arm around me as we walked out. Grace, no need to trouble yourself. Someone else will take care of them for us. I looked up at Ethan questioningly. Ethan tightened his arm around me and said in a relaxed tone, I happen to have business with Eleanor in Fairhaven, so I told her about Luna's whereabouts. Anyone who dares to mess with Eleanor's man is snatching food from a tiger's mouth. She'll have to pay back 10-fold, even 100-fold. Seeing his relaxed expression, I smiled. My younger brother was vengeful, and this was definitely not as simple as he made it sound. Inside the VIP hospital room, screams and furious shouts echoed through the hallway. Within moments, the room was filled with patients and their families. The scattered photos were quickly passed around and viewed by others. Someone recognized Marcus. Wasn't he the general manager of Starlight? How did he get into a fight with this woman? The gossiping abilities of the crowd were extraordinary. Soon, someone dug up the history of the two, eating together, watching movies together, shopping at baby product stores together. Everyone began to mock them. An indignant elderly woman directly spat on them. None of this concerned me. Ethan had already discharged me and transferred me to his high-end private hospital. After settling in, I learned that in just 5 short years, Ethan had become a new prominent figure in Riverton. His pharmaceutical company was affiliated with research institutes, producing newly developed anti-cancer drugs. At the same time, he had established 3 high-end private hospitals that only catered to the private diagnoses of wealthy and influential families. When walked me into the hospital, all the doctors and nurses stood ready, quickly conducting a comprehensive examination. The hospital director personally oversaw the entire process, reminding them of every detail. On the way to the hospital room, 2 young nurses behind me quietly discussed, "Who exactly is this miss?" CEO Fu personally carried her into the emergency room, looking so worried. Another perceptive young woman said, "You don't know? She must be the legendary childhood friend of CEO Fu. Have you ever seen CEO Fu so attentive to any other woman? He doesn't even touch women's clothes normally." Another sighing voice chimed in. "Ah, does that mean CEO Fu is getting married? Then I'll never have a chance. Will I? Oh, heaven. Why are you so unfair? I'm naturally beautiful, diligent, and hardworking. Why couldn't I be born as CEO Fu's childhood friend?" Hearing the two young women gossiping, I couldn't help but smile. I never imagined that the tag-along from my childhood would become the prince in girls' hearts. When I settled into the hospital room, Ethan returned, carrying a stack of examination reports and prescribed medicines. "Grace, the doctor said your thrombin deficiency is due to overwork. These are imported tonic medicines. This is medicine specifically for postpartum recovery." Ethan took out each pill one by one, then poured me a glass of water, helped me sit up, and fed me the medicine. I couldn't help but frown. Since childhood, I had always been most afraid of taking medicine. That bitter taste that coated my throat would make me lose my appetite for 3 days. Ethan chuckled, pinching my cheek. "Why are you still afraid of taking medicine like a child? Do you want me to do flips and juggle for you again?" I looked up, about to speak, when Ethan suddenly cupped the back of my head and pressed his lips to mine. The medicine was slowly pushed into my mouth with his tongue, and a faint sweetness instantly diluted the bitterness. My cheeks flushed. I pushed Ethan away, and just as I was about to call him silly, his deep voice whispered in my ear, "Grace, from now on, I'll share all the hardships with you, okay?" Looking at Ethan's sincere and focused gaze, a flicker of emotion stirred in my heart. I had known Marcus for 5 years and been married for 3. He only ever cared if I got a promotion or how much my commission was that month. I looked seriously at Ethan. "Ethan, I've been married once and had a miscarriage. You don't mind?" There was something I didn't say aloud. "You are now a prominent new figure in Riverton, the most eligible bachelor in the eyes of all women. I'm not good enough for you." Ethan's gaze became serious. "Grace, you are the only person I want to marry in this life. Even if you divorced 100 times, I would still only want to marry you. I love you for who you are. Your past marriage or miscarriage has nothing to do with it." My tears fell, but this time, they were tears of happiness. When I was discharged from the hospital, major news broke in Riverton. A man and a woman were stripped naked, tied up, and hung at the main gate of Riverton Park, the city's most famous landmark. Blood dripped down their thighs onto the ground, spreading far. The first to discover them was an elderly jogger, followed by more and more morning joggers. Since the gate was too high, firefighters had to deploy a fire truck ladder to get them down. Someone immediately recognized them as Marcus, the manager of Starlight, and his mistress, who had been fighting in the hospital a few days prior. Only now, they were bruised and swollen. Marcus had his face drawn on with insulting symbols, and the word slut was written on Luna's face. Reportedly, the main gate of the park was more like a public spectacle than a grand theatrical performance, with thousands of people gathering in just 10 minutes. All bloggers and reporters rushed to scoop up the trending news. Facing the officer's inquiry, Marcus covered his face in pain, slumped on the ground. Everyone was startled to discover that both Marcus and Luna had broken legs. When questioned by the officers, Marcus just pleaded in agony, "It's nothing, just some friends messing around after too much to drink. Please, take me to the hospital immediately." Ultimately, the officers could only take them to the hospital, and the matter was left unresolved. But photos and videos of him and Luna tied up naked went viral, topping the trending searches. Everyone eagerly dissected their bodies and private lives, even praising Luna's curvy figure, saying no wonder she could entice the general manager of Starlight to abandon his wife and child. More people scoffed in disdain, calling them infamous figures of betrayal and adultery, saying that being hung at the main gate for public display was mild. They should have been branded. Writing wasn't enough. I curiously asked Ethan, "Was this Eleanor's doing?" Marcus's legs were broken. Why didn't he call the police? Ethan smiled conspiratorially. "Losing your job and going to jail is far more serious than losing face. Eleanor wouldn't have acted against him unless she had something to hold over him." I realized with a start. Marcus was punished by association because of Luna. Now, his reputation in Riverton was completely ruined. Sure enough, within 3 days, Starlight, under pressure from public opinion, fired Marcus. Given his scandal, no company would hire him. Marcus, at his wits' end, came to me, That day, as Ethan and I were picking out an engagement ring, Marcus stood waiting at the door, leaning on his crutches. He watched Ethan put his arm around me as we exited. His gaze fell to my waist, and anger flashed in his eyes. But in the end, he didn't dare to act. He said with a fawning smile, "CEO Fu, are you shopping with Grace?" "Thank you. I'm here to take Grace home." I laughed, amused at Marcus. I never imagined he could be so shameless, still having the nerve to say home. Ethan was about to push him away, but I quickly pulled him back and whispered a few words in his ear, asking him to wait for me in the car. It's best to stay away from trash. I didn't want Ethan to get involved in any scandal. Seeing obediently go to the car, I gave him a small smile, then turned and swung my arm, slapping Marcus across the face. "Marcus, do you still have the nerve to come home? Our perfectly good home was completely destroyed by you. Are you satisfied?" Marcus fell to the ground with a thud, his crutches flying 2 meters away. Clutching his leg, he looked at me with shame. "Grace, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. I was deceived by that slut, Luna. That day, I just had too much to drink." She stripped off her clothes and crawled into my bed. She hugged me and said her life was miserable, beaten daily by her gambler husband, with no one to care for her. Marcus said, standing up and limping towards me. I immediately backed away, covering my nose in disgust. He reeked of sweat. His clothes looked like they hadn't been washed in ages, and his face was covered in grime. A look of embarrassment flashed across Marcus's face, and he said cautiously, "Grace, you know, we were indeed childhood sweethearts, and I did fall in love with you and left her. I always felt a sense of debt towards her, which is why I made a mistake." I snorted coldly. "So what? You wanted to rekindle your relationship, so you started treating me like I was invisible, openly taking care of her and hooking up with her?" Marcus quickly waved his hands, explaining, "No, that day I really had too much to drink, and she was so ardent. You know I'm a normal man too, then she got pregnant. She cried and said she didn't want any recognition, willing to be with me forever. She was so pitiful. I just wanted to compensate her a little more." I laughed, exasperated. A scumbag is a scumbag, even when he tries to make betrayal sound like deep devotion. I was about to lash out, when a sudden idea struck me. I said indignantly, "Marcus, you hurt my baby and broke my heart for that slut. Since you're so devoted and principled, how are you going to compensate me?" Marcus's face brightened. Then he looked at me in confusion. I pointed to my forehead. "This is the scar from when you forced me to get on my knees and beg Luna for forgiveness. Shouldn't you make her pay for that?" Marcus immediately understood and promised repeatedly, "Grace, don't worry. As long as you forgive me, I will definitely force that slut to personally get on her knees and beg you for forgiveness," he said, turning around to make a phone call. Sure enough, a few minutes later, Luna rushed over joyfully. "Marcus, you forgave me?" Marcus didn't waste any idle chatter with her. He grabbed her hair and kicked her knee. "You slut! You deliberately faked fainting to force me to make Grace get on her knees and beg for forgiveness. Today, you're going to bow back to her. If you miss one, I won't forgive you." Luna tried to struggle, but Marcus held her head and, grabbing her hair, repeatedly slammed it against the floor with thuds. Marcus, eager to apologize, ensured each bow was real and hard. Luna's face was instantly covered in blood. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Marcus gritted his teeth, held Luna down, and continued to make her hit her head against the floor with thuds. Finally, Luna snapped. She grabbed Marcus's crotch with a backhand, screaming viciously, "Bastard, you couldn't get Grace's money yourself, and now you're taking your anger out on me? You were the one who said Grace was a cold fish. You were the one who complained she was too strong-willed and not as gentle as I am. Marcus, are you even a man? You slept with me and promised to marry me, but the moment you saw Grace's father offered $1 million in compensation, you started pursuing her. You're nothing but a money-grubbing bastard." Listening to Luna's furious shouts, I stood frozen. I thought he had just succumbed to temptation and betrayed me. I thought, at the very least, he had loved me. It turned out it was all his scheme from beginning to end. He only wanted my money, which is why he heartlessly harmed my child. 7 years of a relationship, 5 years of marriage. In that moment, an immeasurable hatred surged through me. Marcus panicked. He frantically clamped his hand over Luna's mouth and pleaded with me. "No, Grace, it's not true. I love you. Don't listen to her nonsense." She just wants to break us up. I raised my hand, pointing a frigid finger at Marcus. Get out. If I ever see you again, I'll send all your corruption and kickback documents to the police station. You'll rot in jail. Back in the car, Ethan immediately noticed the grim expression on my face. When he pressed me for answers, I only said one thing. Ethan, use every connection you have to turn Marcus into a pariah. I want him to sink to the very bottom of society and suffer every single day. Ethan immediately started making calls. Marcus was completely jobless. No one would even hire him to wash dishes at a restaurant because he was on the local blacklist. A month later, Ethan proposed to me with a romantic proposal ceremony. 9,999 roses filled the hall, and drones in the sky formed the words, "I love Grace." All the wealthy and influential figures from Riverton attended, even my boss. Only then did I realize why I had climbed so smoothly to the position of director. His love, it turned out, had already permeated every aspect of my life. As the engagement ceremony concluded successfully, I learned that a major news story had also broken in Riverton. Marcus had actually killed Luna in a rented apartment. I heard that when the police arrived. Marcus was still frantically stabbing Luna with a knife, screaming maniacally, "Bitch, you ruined me. Grace clearly forgave me, but you deliberately slandered me. You destroyed me again and again. I'll make you stop spreading lies. Go on, say something." That very night, as major media outlets reported on Ethan and my romantic engagement ceremony, they also reported the murder right below it, recreating the gruesome scene. A week later, Marcus was sentenced to 30 years in prison for intentional homicide. Meanwhile, Ethan had already taken me to Europe to take our wedding photos. He said he had waited 30 years, couldn't wait another moment, and wanted to marry me immediately. 2 months later, Ethan and I held a grand wedding. All the media in Riverton were present and widely reported on the sincere love between us childhood sweethearts. At the prison dozens of miles away, a gaunt, weathered figure watched the city's fireworks, used a toothbrush to pierce his artery, and slowly collapsed to the ground. The prison called, asking me to claim his body, but I simply said dryly, "He and I are already divorced. Burn him and scatter his ashes in the river. Don't call me again." As for a calculating scumbag like him, I would never give him another thought. I would only let him fester in the muck he created, surrounded by the dregs of society. As for me, I would embrace a brilliant future and never look back. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comments section. Here is Roses and Love, sharing stories about marriage and women every day. See you tomorrow.